Britain in the 1960s was racing into a new era, motorways stretching further, families dreaming bigger, and showrooms promising modern motoring for everyone. Expectations had never been higher. British engineers spoke of innovation, comfort, and value, and buyers believed every word. But not every car kept that promise. Some arrived rushed, some looked stunning but broke down within weeks, some cost a fortune and delivered disappointment instead of pride. By the end of the decade, several manufacturers had quietly embarrassed themselves, and number 1 became one of Britain's most quietly shameful automotive memories. Let's begin the countdown, starting with number 10. Number 10. Triumph Vitesse. Launched in 1962, the Triumph Vitesse promised something genuinely exciting, a smooth 6-cylinder engine wrapped in Michelotti's sharp, quad headlamp styling, based on the humble Herald. British buyers who wanted sporting 6-cylinder pace at a saloon car price had every reason to be tempted. With 1596cc growing later to 1998cc and up to 95 horsepower, performance felt genuinely brisk for the era. But underneath sat the Herald swing-axle rear suspension, unchanged and unequal to the task. Pushed hard through a bend, the rear wheel could tuck into extreme camber and snap the car into sudden, difficult-to-catch oversteer. Motoring magazines complained openly that the car might have found greater success with a simple live axle instead. Confident drivers were caught out, and word of the Vitesse's temperamental handling spread quickly. Triumph eventually revised the suspension in 1968, but by then the reputation had already settled. Would you have trusted it through a wet roundabout? Many Brits hesitated, and the car at number 9 disappointed for reasons far less dramatic, but just as damaging. Number 9. Riley ELF. Sharing its underpinnings almost entirely with a familiar small car, the Riley ELF arrived in 1961 chasing prestige under BMC's more sporting Riley name. With its neat fins, upright grille, and leather-trimmed cabin, the ELF promised buyers something distinctive. Underneath, though, it remained a familiar 848cc Mini, later growing to 998cc, with performance figures that never matched its premium price tag. Riley loyalists, expecting genuine engineering pedigree from a marque with real motorsport history, felt shortchanged by a car that was essentially a Mini in evening wear. Critics pointed out that the extra weight from its boot and trim blunted the agility that made the standard Mini so beloved. Reliability itself wasn't the problem, identity was. Buyers didn't feel they were getting a real Riley, and word spread quickly through enthusiast circles. Sales lagged behind expectations for the entire decade. Would you have paid more for badge alone? Many Brits decided they wouldn't, and the next car disappointed for a completely different reason. Number 8. Sunbeam Rapier Series 4. By the mid-1960s, the Sunbeam Rapier had built a reputation as a stylish, sporty coupe for image-conscious British motorists. The Series 4, launched in 1963, promised sharper looks and improved performance, with its 1592cc engine producing around 78 horsepower. On paper, it looked like exactly the kind of car ambitious young professionals wanted to be seen driving. In reality, buyers found a car that struggled to justify its price against faster, better-finished rivals from Ford and BMC. Its handling, while capable, never quite matched the sporting image projected by its advertising. Build quality issues crept in too, with trim pieces rattling loose and paintwork aging poorly compared to its showroom promise. Motoring journalists noted that the Rapier looked far more exciting than it actually drove. Roots Group's reputation for reliability was already fragile, and the Rapier did little to repair it. Its resale value suffered as a result. That wasn't even the worst reliability story of the decade, though. The next car proved far more troublesome. Number 7. Hillman Imp. Few British cars carried higher hopes than the Hillman Imp when it launched in May 1963. Built at a brand new factory in Linwood, Scotland, and powered by an innovative all-aluminium 875cc engine derived from racing technology, the Imp was meant to finally give the Mini genuine competition. Early praise focused on its clever rear-engined layout and lively handling. But the excitement didn't last. Rushed development meant the Imp reached buyers with defective chokes, water leaks, and a persistent tendency to overheat, sometimes warping the engine block entirely. Roots dealers, unfamiliar with the sophisticated alloy engine, often made repairs worse rather than better. Word of mouth turned brutal, and sales collapsed to a fraction of the projected figures. Despite genuine engineering brilliance underneath, the damage to its reputation never fully healed. The Imp became a textbook example of how a promising British car could be undone by haste rather than bad ideas. Would you have trusted it after hearing the stories? Most Brits didn't, and number 6 disappointed in an entirely different way. Number 6, Austin 3 Litre. Unveiled in 1968, the Austin 3 Litre was meant to be British Leyland's answer to executive-class motoring, combining a smooth 2912cc 6-cylinder engine with hydroelastic suspension borrowed from smaller family cars. Buyers expected genuine luxury to rival Rover and Triumph. Instead, they found a car that felt curiously unfinished. Its styling was awkward, blending saloon proportions with a boot that seemed to belong to a different vehicle entirely. Performance was underwhelming for its size and price, and the interior lacked the polish expected at that level of the market. Reviewers were particularly harsh about its handling, criticizing vague steering and a ride that failed to match its sophisticated suspension components. Sales were disastrous, with barely a few thousand built before production quietly ended. It remains one of British Leyland's clearest examples of ambition outrunning execution. The company had aimed for prestige and landed on awkwardness instead. But the top 5 cars would prove even more painful for British pride, starting with a car that promised comfort and delivered constant complaint. Number 5, Austin, Morris 1800 Landcrab. Launched in 1964, the Austin 1800 arrived with genuine innovation, front-wheel drive, a spacious cabin, and a torsion bar suspension system engineered by none other than Alec Isigonis himself. Expectations soared, with early reviews praising its interior space and road holding. But British buyers soon discovered the car's unfortunate nickname told its own story. The bulbous Landcrab styling never won public affection, and its heavy, unassisted steering made everyday driving a genuine workout, especially for the family buyers it targeted. Reliability issues with its complex suspension system led to expensive repairs, while build quality remained inconsistent throughout production. Despite winning the 1965 European Car of the Year award, showroom sales never matched the critical acclaim. Many buyers simply found it too awkward to love, no matter how clever its engineering. The gap between engineering praise and public affection had rarely been wider for a British car. That wasn't even Britain's biggest disappointment of the decade, though. The next 4 entries were about to get far more embarrassing. Number 4, Triumph Herald. Triumph's Herald arrived in 1959 and carried rail momentum into the 1960s, promising style, an exceptionally tight turning circle, and separate chassis simplicity that made repairs easier for home mechanics. With its distinctive Michelotto styling and 948cc, later 1147cc and 1296cc engines, it looked every inch a modern small saloon. But cracks appeared quickly. The swing-axle rear suspension, inherited by its sportier Vitesse sibling 2, gave the Herald a genuine reputation for sudden oversteer if pushed hard through corners. Rust proved another persistent enemy, attacking the separate chassis and body mounting points within just a few years of ownership. Buyers who wanted a stylish, dependable family car instead found themselves nursing a car that demanded constant vigilance. Performance from the smaller engines felt sluggish against nimbler rivals. Despite strong early sales, the Herald's reputation softened considerably as these problems became common knowledge among British motorists. Would this have impressed you after the 3rd or 4th repair bill? For many families, patience ran out and the car at number 3 disappointed on an even grander scale. Number 3, Vauxhall Viva HA. When Vauxhall launched the Viva HA in 1963, it promised straightforward, affordable family motoring to rival the Ford Cortina and Austin Morris 1100. With its clean styling and 1057cc engine, early demand was strong, and Vauxhall struggled to keep pace with orders. That popularity, though, revealed the Viva's greatest weakness. Rust attacked the bodywork with alarming speed, particularly around the wheel arches and sills, leaving many examples corroded beyond economical repair within just a handful of British winters. Buyers who had chosen the Viva for its low price soon discovered that cheap purchase costs came with expensive long-term consequences. Owners reported structural rot appearing in cars barely 3 years old, undermining confidence in Vauxhall's engineering standards. The company's General Motors parentage promised American-inspired quality, yet the Viva's corrosion problems became a running joke among British motoring writers. Its resale values suffered accordingly. The lesson was clear: cheap to buy didn't mean cheap to keep. And number 2 proved that even prestigious badges weren't immune to disappointment. Number 2. Rover 2000. Few British cars launched with higher expectations than the Rover 2000 in 1963. Winning the very first European Car of the Year award, it promised aviation-inspired engineering, a de Dion rear suspension, and a genuinely modern 1978cc engine producing around 90 horsepower. Rover buyers, accustomed to solid, conservative saloons, expected this sophistication to translate into flawless ownership. Instead, the Rover 2000's complexity became its undoing. The advanced suspension design proved expensive and difficult to service, while the innovative base unit construction, though strong, made bodywork repairs notoriously complicated for ordinary garages. Rust crept into structural areas that were painstaking to fix properly. Many owners found themselves paying premium prices for maintenance that felt disproportionate to the car's original promise of effortless modernity. The Rover 2000 remained admired by engineers but increasingly feared by owners' wallets. Its reputation for innovation never quite translated into a reputation for trouble-free ownership. If you think that was disappointing, brace yourself, because number 1 became one of Britain's most quietly shameful automotive stories. Number 1. Jensen Interceptor. Unveiled in 1966, the Jensen Interceptor looked every inch a British Triumph, Italian Vignale styling wrapped around a thunderous Chrysler-sourced V8, promising effortless grand touring pace and genuine glamour. British buyers with serious money expected a car that matched its breathtaking looks with equally impressive dependability. What they got instead became one of the decade's most embarrassing open secrets. The steel bodywork rusted with startling speed, corroding from the inside out around box sections that were nearly impossible to repair properly. Electrical gremlins plagued early cars, while the thirsty V8 made running costs eye-watering even for wealthy owners. Behind closed doors, dealers quietly acknowledged what customers wouldn't say publicly, that a car costing as much as a house was falling apart within a few short years. The embarrassment wasn't performance or style. It was watching Britain's most glamorous Grand Tourer rust away in full view of the neighbours. Few cars captured the gap between British ambition and British execution quite so painfully. The 1960s gave Britain some of its most brilliant cars, and some of its most quietly disappointing ones. Rising expectations, fierce competition, and rapid innovation all played their part, but so did rushed development, rust, and unfinished engineering. Each car on this list reflected a moment when British ambition outpaced British execution, leaving buyers hopeful, then frustrated. Which one surprised you most? Did you or your family ever own one of these cars? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this journey through Britain's forgotten automotive disappointments, subscribe to Britain Rewind for more stories the history books left behind. And we will see you in the next amazing video.